Hey, Cairo. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is, I pray that your mind and your heart and your spirit are all poised to receive, to accept, and to respond to words of wisdom. Ashe. Did you ever see the movie Madagascar? There's a character in the movie called King Julian, and he's, I don't know, a meerkat or something. Anyway, there's a line in the movie that is hilarious. They're on the plane leaving Madagascar, making their great escape. And King Julian, as a king, has first class service. And there's somehow one of the zoo animals ends up in the first class with him. And he says, this is first class. It's nothing personal. It's just that we're better than you. Now, if you've been raised right, you cringe at that kind of arrogance and disrespect, right? You know better. And Yoruba tradition really reinforces a kind of the idea that we should not be arrogant, right? The elders will tell you stuff like, there's nothing like a strong man who doesn't bully and a pretty woman who doesn't flirt, right? Strong man could take whatever he wants. But when you see him exercise restraint, you realize this person is noble, right? Likewise, a pretty woman could bat her eyelashes and show a little leg, and, she could get people falling left and right over her. But when you see her not, over rely on her beauty, you realize, oh, this is a person who has another level of integrity, right? And it's admirable. When we look at divinities like Obatala is restrained to the point of being austere, right? The Oriki tell us that Obatala has salt, but he seasons his food with ash. Obatala has a closet full of colorful garments, but he only adorns himself with plain white cloth. Obatala has a luxurious raised bed, but he sleeps on a mat on the floor. Obatala exercises a very high level of restraint, right? Which is what the white cloth is all about. If you're not restrained with white cloth, you're going to make a mess, right? Likewise, the traditional wisdom gives us lots of examples of what happens when people refuse, or fail to exercise restraint. It results in calamity and self-destruction. The epitome of this is Ajapa, the tortoise. Ajapa is the most brilliant, most talented animal in the pantheon of folkloric animals, right? He's always features high in Yoruba folklore, but no matter how smart he is, no matter how cunning he is, his arrogance and his refusal to demonstrate restraint always results in calamity. Spiritually, we have things like Shigidi. Shigidi is this powerful charm that can go out and wreak havoc all over the place. But even Shigidi, if he refuses to exercise some restraint and decides that he's going to defy the rain, right, then Shigidi will end up being returned back to a pile of mud, because Shigidi is made of mud or clay, right? The Proverbs tell us that the dog is always barking. But when leopard is nearby, dog is silent, right? So the refusal or inability to demonstrate some restraint, according to Yoruba tradition, is calamitous. It's inviting problems that you cannot resolve, okay? At the same time, however, the lesson that I want to share with you today is that restraint and humility don't mean that you should diminish your ambition. They don't mean that you should limit your ability to exercise dominion over your environment. Okay? A lot of times I see my people in an effort to demonstrate humility and restraint, you're actually refusing to demonstrate superiority where you ought to. Okay, and that's the lesson I want to share with you today. But before I do, let me explain or remind you that this is the Orisha Lifestyle Academy, and I'm your instructor, Obafemi Origunwa. Today, I have a lesson for you on demonstrating superiority. This is totally in keeping with Yoruba tradition. Okay? I'll never forget the first time I was with one of my I would call him a cultural ambassador, and I was saying something about, I was playing small. End of the day, I was playing small. And he looked at me and he says, Obafemi, all men are not created equal. Let the fingers on your hand be your guide. That was my brother Kola. I'll never forget. And I remember looking at my hand like, yeah, okay, the fingers on my hand are not the same size. He said, yeah, that's representative of people. There are some who are simply greater than others, right? And so you got to accept that reality. That's how Olodumare made the fingers on the hand. Ifa goes on to teach us that, and this is comes out of Ejogbe, but it's become proverbial wisdom, that Yoruba people will remind one another all the time. They'll say, if all men were to be buried in a coffin, the Iroko of the forest would be decimated, right? We aren't all entitled to the same privileges. We are not all entitled to the same privileges. There are some who are in a position for one reason or another that entitles them to more. Okay. And the way that one is granted those kinds of privileges is through the way that they live, the way that they show up, the way that they serve, which is evidenced by the proverb that tells us that the hand that gives is always on top. Okay. It's through your generosity. It's through your ability to be altruistic that you demonstrate your superiority, because you got it to give, right? You're willing to share. The Proverbs go on to tell us that as long as there are great ones among us, the ordinary will not perish. Right? We depend on the great ones, like we depend on the majestic and mighty tree to provide shade. We depend on great men to support us, to protect us, to shield us. Right? This is natural. This is normal. And as long as there are great ones among us, the ordinary will not only not perish, but the ordinary will also have an example. They'll have a tangible evidence of where they can go to get support, where they can go and find protection, right? And this is something that you'll see carry out throughout, all kinds of mythology. The key is to understand what you're looking at. When you see the hero, we tend to think of, the superior man as the hero, the one who's out front, wielding a hammer, swinging an axe and carrying a shield and going out onto the battlefield. And that is noble and it is essential. But if you look at the archetypes in mythology, you'll see that the hero is always flawed. The hero is always insecure. The hero, the same things that makes the hero bold and fearless are the same things that create huge liabilities for the hero. And so the superior one is the advisor, who is always stable. The advisor who is always secure. The advisor who is always clear and well-grounded. Right? Through these examples, we see that true superiority is demonstrated by the ability to maintain groundedness, by which you can then elevate others, through which you can empower others. Right? We see this in Oromila. Oromila is crowned the king of Orisha because of his ability to elevate the others. When the other Orisha are out exhibiting their powers and their prowess, it's Oromila who stays back at the shrine and tends to their altars. And by tending to their altars, Oromila gives them guidance. He gives them the spiritual force to guide and empower their efforts. The snake Nini notorious. It's like a garter snake. It's very gentle. It's very passive. But when the kingmakers were looking for someone to ascend the throne and be the king of all serpents, the lord of all serpents, Cobra was disqualified because Cobra was too aggressive. Boa constrictor was was disqualified because he was his hunger would overwhelm him and he would just swallow everything. But it was Nini who said, no. We're going to use the wisdom of the ancestors. We're going to use the wisdom of Ifa. We're going to guide the community with benevolence and balance. It was Nini who was chosen to be the king of serpents, because Nini was going to empower everyone without compromising other people's rights. Ejiobe tells us that the one who dedicates so much of his time and his energy to serving others that he has no time to take care of himself should know that Olodumare will take care of his needs. Right? These are all verses and proverbial wisdom that reinforce the idea and the understanding that it is through your ability to ground yourself and empower others and elevate others and promote others, to embolden others, to help others to achieve greatness. That is how you demonstrate your superiority, right? So what I want you to do, what we do in the School of Orisha Studies, what we do in the Orisha Lifestyle Academy, what I do through my publications and my one-on-one work with people is to help you to clarify your vision. See, because the thing that's going to allow you to sit down and become well-grounded and then empower others is going to be the clarity of your vision. When you really know who you are, where you come from, where you're going, and why your position is indispensable to all these other people and all these other causes and all these other movements. Or I should say, when you understand how your position is indispensable to your people, to the people that you're destined to elevate, the people you're destined to empower, the causes that you're destined to serve, the causes that you're destined to promote. When you understand your role in those causes and in the lives of those people, it's going to give you the stability and the rootedness to solve all the problems associated with manifesting that vision. That's what we're dedicated to in the Orisha Lifestyle Academy. And we're constantly looking for people who are leaders, who are dedicated to serving their community, dedicated to serving their ancestors, dedicated to serving something greater than themselves. If you are one of those people and you're ready to demonstrate your superiority in manifesting that vision, if you're ready to start demonstrating superiority in revealing the greatness of the cause that you believe in, you're ready to demonstrate the worthiness of the people who you want to empower and to embolden and to elevate. If you're ready to do that, I invite you to visit obafemio.com or orishalifestyle.com. Get enrolled today. Get enrolled today. And let's start living the medicine that will heal your life and heal the lives of those who you are destined to serve. Aboro aboye. Aboshishe.